This is Maximum Occupancy? Was that it? Capacity. Maximum Capacity.
Sounds like an 80s action film.
Jean-Claude Van Damme in Maximum Capacity.
Well, about as much as Little Butler sounds like an 80s sitcom.
Little Butler and you.
Yeah, that was definitely a Mr. Belvedere.
That's the first thing
Webster,
I thought.
I would say.
Yeah, the first thing I thought it was like, they doing Mr. Belvedere?
Yeah, just a guy kind of singing a deal, who cares? But then having it be a little kid in this super rich family, I mean, that's different strokes in Webster and stuff.
Underneath all that, this was really a dark tale about cleaning.
Cleaning out the past! You know, much like the one where Stephen and Connie fuse, I really like this one because I feel like there's a lot of sort of various ways you can take it. But it can be something like really dark and heavy, or it can be something that is actually very simple that can lead to something really, really emotional.
Yes, the past can hurt, but you learn from it, like Rafiki does.
Yes, learn from it, or run from it, or learn from it. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna run back to my past, and then nobody's gonna support me. I'm gonna figure out my past was totally false, so this lesson is entirely pointless.
Well, of course it is. It is because you're Matthew Broderick. Nobody likes you.
How do you get cast in that movie?
I don't know. Well, yeah, we're getting sidetracked here. So this is an episode where Amethyst and Steven's dad used to be friends, used to be pals watching this show. This pretty obviously dumb show, but they really like it and they bond over it.
This is my buttless.
Yeah, so they start watching it again. They're supposed to clean out the storage area. It's totally trash. Amethyst, not surprisingly, is not very good at it. She wants to keep everything. We find out there's kind of this big jealousy going on where when Rose came into the picture, he spent more time with her, and she felt like that friendship was threatened. So they sort of...
I'll tell you, I called that one in my head when Pearl was like, and then they just stopped, and I was like, Rose.
Well, as soon as he was looking at the picture, and they had that close-up of Amethyst, I'm like, okay, well, something happened
blushed
there.
And was like, ooh.
Yeah, and I didn't know, I was thinking to myself, they're not gonna go, like, that route. I mean, it kind of sounds like they couldn't anyway from what the gem understanding is or whatever, because they, like, I guess that's not how they reproduce or whatever, but yeah, there's definitely that idea of, like, there was this tight friendship, and then, you know...
Wait, if they can't reproduce, where did Steven come from?
No, but remember, she became... Like, she kind of is Steven. She's, like, half Steven, half whatever.
I'm losing track of the
It's tough. I still don't... I don't fully understand it, but I get the
especially the way the
idea.
episodes are delivered piecemeal, kind of like this. You forget certain facts.
Yeah, but...
sure someone will correct it for us.
Well, but one of the nice things is that, again, I think that's one of the reasons Pearl really obsesses over Steven, you know, whatever connection her and Rose had. I mean, she watches him sleep and stuff, because he is... at least half Rose. And I really like in this one when he's looking at the picture and, like, you'll sort of show the reflection. You'll see, like, Steven in sort of her spot and stuff like that. Like, I like little touches like that. But, yeah, I mean, this is something where... And she kind of tortures him a bit in that genuinely uncomfortable moment.
Kind of tortures. I was like, wow,
I mean,
I could not think of a crueler thing you could do.
I was legitimately uncomfortable
Pose
in a good way.
as his son, second, pose as his dead wife.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, the only thing I could think of that was worse would be Full Metal Alchemist with Hughes, and the last thing he saw, but...
I think... And like I said, and they're very clever to hold on. They don't show it. I mean, he's not looking at her for one. And then when Steven comes in and says stop, and Steven sees her as that, I think that's a point where even Amethyst knows,
oh no,
my
she
God,
knew.
like that, I've really fucked up, and this is sick.
I've become a mean, vindictive bitch.
Yeah, like, it's like not only cruel, it's like sick. But there is something when you have something, you know, that you've held on to for so long and you haven't addressed it. I mean, you can do sick, twisted stuff, whether you realize it or not. And yeah, I think it's... I don't know, I'm sure you've come across this too. I think everybody's come across, like, friendships where people used to be really, really tight, but either life happens, time happens, other people happen and stuff, and you kind of...
Crime happens.
Crimes, of course. Hey, I made some wonderful jail buddies, okay? But something happens where you kind of separate. But something happens where you separate. And it's like, you're still friends, you're still in talk, but like, just stuff that happens and changes, and you kind of miss that connection you had. And sometimes,
sometimes you realize, oh, there was a reason why we weren't talking much anymore.
But it's tough. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, you can't remember, man, what a good friendship you had, you know, and how tight you used to be, and you used to be able to share so much. But then, like, just something, and maybe not even just one thing, just a lot of things happen. And it's not something like there's a falling out or you hate each other. It's just life gets in the way and you're just not as close anymore. But that, maybe something did happen, like, more grounded than even we're thinking. I mean, maybe there was like a big blow up or something, but the way they sort of talked and got along, I mean, it kind of felt like they were okay. But even when Steven brought her to help clean, he was like, oh, Amethyst, well, okay, I guess this is all right. So there was definitely a little bit of that
opportunity presented itself.
Yeah, I mean, they still seem to be, I mean, especially him, he seemed to be like, well, okay, I mean, we'll go with this. I'm not going to bring anything up. I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, no, it was mostly on her, because she's the one who was trying to stop him when he's like, I should probably spend time with my son.
No, but remember at the beginning, I think she almost sees that, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm fine. Well, what are you talking about? And she was like, I'm fine with hanging out, come on, this will be fun, whatever. But he could already see the problem. It's like she didn't see the problem at all at first. And then when he wanted to leave, that's when it became a problem for her. So yeah, I think it's one of those things where, you know, it's tough, but it's life, and there are people that just cannot let go of certain things or can't let them be, and they want to do anything to get it back. And there's other people that just like, you know what, it sucks, but you gotta just, it's the way it is, and what you traded for is usually stuff that's essential and you need, usually. So yeah, boy, I prattle on a lot there. Sorry.
Ditto.
Nothing else to add to that?
Well, you already said it all.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't hog the...
That's fine. That's fine. Please do continue.
No, I'm done. Like you said, I said it all.
And Steven! I liked that scene at the end where they're staring at the picture, and then it's Rose and Steven's dad, and then bends it slightly, and you see the reflection of Steven and his dad in the same like kind of positions, and that was a touching visual.
Yeah, I actually brought that up too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, I must have zoned out when you were talking.
A lot of people do when I talk.
Oh, I will say this. I don't think it was intentional, but when Amethyst says, oh, don't worry, I've gone through your junk.
You know...
Yeah.
Okay, here's my thought. It probably was intentional, but not like a, you know, hey, we snuck this in kind of thing. It's just like, hey, let's just, a cute little dirty joke, whatever. But if it's, I don't know. If
just saying.
If it's not smart, then I kind of say, it kind of reminds me of Batman and Robin, where she's like, I'll help you grab your rocks. And it's like, hey, hey, hey. Like, if you got to do that, at least be smart about it. But again, I was almost wondering, like, are they hinting at that? No. You know, because like I said, you could take this as, like, I guess an affair thing, but I really don't read that into it, especially for a kid show.
I always like making innocent things dirtier, so I will totally think that.
But especially if they made that joke, I would think they're not leaning towards that, because, again, as really good storytellers, it doesn't feel like they would make that joke for it.
They were like a couple of gems in a rock tumbler, baby.
So, yeah, I guess the only other thing coming to mind is that, you know, we were Navy brats, so we moved around a lot. So the idea of, like, sort of this really tight friendship that you had sort of drifting apart was, like, nothing new. I even argue, like, we kind of had it throughout most of our lives. So it's one of those things where it's hard to say, like, wow, I like this really hit me in the feels like big time or anything, because it's like aside from family, I can't think of anyone that's like, wow, I've known this person all my life, like this friend, you know, and a BFF. You know, because it's like we just always move.
Oh, whenever I hear people, it's like, I have been best friends with this person since we were the age of 3. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I have no idea.
I can't
no
comprehend it.
reference.
And not all that's bad at all.
When people move and they're like, I gotta move again. I'm like, no frame of reference. I'm like,
we're just kind of used to it.
I'm like, what's the big deal?
And there's pros and cons to both.
I mean, I get it. If you've lived in the same place for 20 years, I'm like, wow, that's gotta suck. But no real frame of reference.
There's definitely pros and cons to both. I'd say the definite pro for us is that it's like, you know, it's whenever something has to change, we're not that bad about it. We have to change locations or a house or people or something like that. That's not a huge deal. I mean, sometimes it's
the gypsy life, baby.
Yeah, kind of. But the downside is like, yeah, we have never had someone, like you said, from age 3 that it's like, oh, we can trust everything with this person just based on how long I've known the person. Again, outside of family, but someone that is not family. So you know, there's pros and cons to it, but. Yeah, it's something where it's like, I still get it. I still understand what they're talking about here. And I've seen sort of...
The con, we've never learned how to truly love. The pro, we've never learned how to truly love.
Wow, that was sad. Well, that said the 2 married guys.
Don't feel.
Keep them out. But, yeah.
Trust is for the weak.
So... Yeah, a really good episode. Like I said, I think you can sort of take it a lot of ways. I think everybody, whether or not you've grown up with someone that you've known since childhood or you've moved around, I think everybody can kind of relate to this with something in their life. And again, they made it just vague enough. Just sitting around watching a show, it's like, it can be anything that, you know, the 2 people do that they bond over. And anything that can get in the way as well. So, yeah, I thought this did really well, and I thought it was just the right amount of, like, specific, but also open enough that you can connect yourself to it as well.
Ditto.
So, yeah, that's about it. Is the next one Marble Madness? I just gotta know what Marble Madness is. Either the next one or the one after.
I better see some fucking marbles cascading down some mazes.
Or upward, like the backwards
or
level.
Up, the silly level.
The silly level,
Everything you know is wrong.
You still have to roll a ball. If you had to roll square, like that would be technically right. It would just sit there. And
if you didn't roll but had to bounce the marble.
Yeah, and you would lose every single time because it's a square and you can't move it.
There's just like, this is gonna go over like most of our audiences have. What the fuck is Marble Madness?
Play Marble Madness. It is the most fun, fucking shortest game, but it's so enjoyable. Actually, it probably sucks now. I'll play it, I'm like, this is shit.
Let's pretend it's 1988 all over again.
Yeah, let's go watch Lil Butler and play on Marble Madness. Why did Marble Madness have a show? Lil Marble Madness. I'm rolling marbles. Come and knock on my door.
I was gonna say, because there's nothing you could do with that. Then they did have the Geico Caveman show. So
yeah, and Donkey Kong Jr. was a show. And the Rubik's Cube was a show. So why not Marble Madness, damn it?
And Cheers, that piece of shit.
Yeah, fuck. Don't watch Cheers. It's crap. I doubt any of our audience watches it anyway. It's like, I'm thinking like we're gonna get all this hate. It's just like, nah, no, probably nobody in our audience even watches it.
Actually, I didn't mind Cheers that much. I always thought Frasier was a little better, but Seinfeld though.
High five, bro.
My butler.
Worst line in the show.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Okay, bye.